In 1776, America threw off the shackles of oppressive European BS. And again, it's time to fight against the Europeans, particularly in the DSA, the Digital Services Act. The DSA is coming for freedom of speech in America, and it's time to draw a line. This is The Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. And I'm Andrew Esquire, your host, and let's get into it today. Okay, the Digital Services Act, what is it? This was an act created by the European Commission. This is an EU Commission piece of legislature that is supposed to regulate all things digital to make sure that we are safe from the evils of the digital world, because it is so scary and so dangerous in the digital world, and we have to make sure that we are protected by our EU overlords. Now, you'd think this might just be limited to content that originates in the EU, that somebody makes as a European, maybe a German company makes, or a French company makes, a Swiss company makes. No, in fact, this is being used to reach around the world and say, no, you in this other country, you cannot create this content. What you are doing over here, under your own laws in your own country, you need to change the way you are doing business. It is effectively extending the long arm of European law, specifically European censorship, to America. Now understand, in our Constitution, we have something called freedom of speech. But unfortunately for most countries in the world, they don't have protections as strong as we have in our Constitution, particularly in framing of freedom of speech. And in fact, the limits of freedom of speech are often much broader under American law than they are under European law. Things you can say in America might get you censored, fined, or thrown in jail in Europe. Well, this has been brought to the digital world, and in this case, Europe is saying that X, under Elon Musk, has gone too far. Why have they gone too far? Well, because they've posted information, they've allowed information on their platform that is not accurate, that is not truthful, that might be misinformation. And because of that, they have violated European law and therefore are subject to sanctions in Europe. They've also said, furthermore, that the community notes, and allowing a community note underneath a post is problematic, right? Because obviously when a false statement is put out by a European government or European leader, and there's a community note that says, hey, that's not true, because in fact, we are not, for example, outright winning the war in Ukraine, or, there isn't one side or the other of the Israel-Hamas conflict that is absolutely in the right. And there's a community note that makes some sort of note to that effect. Well, that's just wrong, because it's not the party line of the EU, and anything that goes against the EU government or EU politicians, well, we can't have that. We can't have community notes. And to be very serious, they are taking umbrage with the existence of community notes. They're also taking umbrage with people with check marks. Now, they preferred the regime, and they were explicit about this, where only the select few, only the creme de la creme, only those that were the famous politicians or influencers or celebrities, those are the only ones who could get a blue check mark. Not people that actually pay for it, go through a screening process, and they look at what they're doing, what they're putting on the platform. No, not at all. They only want the creme de la creme. And because people can pay for it, because there's any money exchanged, well, that's naughty in terms of Europe. They also put out that there's certain sort of hateful content that is not allowed in certain European countries, and therefore the American company X must remove that from its platform. I think it's time we had a little tea party once again. And look, all respect for my British colleagues and friends. Look, they did Brexit. They're kind of out of this European thing. Maybe it's a little fromage this time, if you know what I'm saying, and some bratwurst. But that being said, we've got to draw a line here, because the second we allow American companies to be censored by Europeans, we have given up our digital sovereignty. We are allowing our companies to be trampled upon by European powers, which will go ahead and pass very, very strict censorship laws in what we can or cannot say. Think about what was going on during the pandemic. Think about what's going on during the various conflicts around the world, where there's a right opinion, according to the WEF think, and where there's a wrong opinion. We do not want to allow this and go down this road. And if we follow the road of the European Commission, it is the yellow brick road to hell. So therefore, therefore, I am calling for all good Americans to come out here and stand behind this exercise of freedom of speech, particularly on the X platform right now, and against this this extension of the DSA to American companies. And to my European brethren, I would say to you, listen, is this the government you want? When I see the tractors pulling into protest in Berlin, absolutely behind that, saying, do you want a government which is censoring people around the world, which is damaging this reputation for freedom, for classic liberalism that these countries had for so long? Is these the governments you want? Are these the people you want? I think many Europeans would agree with me here that they do not want to live in a world in which they're censoring other countries, companies, and other people's speech. I think that's something that many Europeans, particularly native Europeans, oh no, I said that. Should I say that? Is that allowed? Is that okay? Would disagree with. So guys, I want to hear what you think about this in the comments below. Make sure you're smashing the like button to get this out there so all of those censorious folks can, well, be stopped in their quest to keep me suppressed in the algorithm. And I'll catch you on the next one.